Hello, all you creepy crawlers out there, and welcome to another episode of the Blowing Smoke podcast with Kimiko Kusanagi. Today, we are going to talk about Florida aliens, Mothman, and shadow people. Oh my. So light up and listen in. Excuse me. So, Florida aliens. My thoughts on that. A while ago, I want to say it was probably somewhere around 2019. I was really big into the whole conspiracy crap and subscribed to Anonymous. Now, Anonymous, around 2019, said something along the lines of, careful about this Space Force thing, which, lo and behold, fucking happened. We have a Space Force bullshit thing. And he also mentioned something along the lines of our government possibly, allegedly, staging UFO or alien attacks so that the general population of people basically would be frightened. And when the aliens do come forth to speak and help or whatever they're planning on doing, that our people, humans, are going to be terrified and want nothing to do with it. Now, I personally think that the Florida alien exposure had something to do with that, because in all honesty, if you actually go through the internet and delve deep into the whole alien crap, we have certain main types of aliens that show up. Now, these ones that showed up in Florida, these tall, shadowy ones, I have never, ever heard anything about no tall, shadowy aliens. Now, the portal, on the other hand, because that's another thing, is that they're saying that it was they did something like that with GPS or something orientated where to basically find out where this portal came from, and they're saying it came from Antarctica. Now, if you don't know about the whole, there's a hole in the earth and the aliens live in the hole in the earth that happens to be in Antarctica, or look up on anything like in Google when it comes to Antarctica, like we're not allowed to see what's going on over there in Antarctica. Like, you can't see it from Google Maps. There's a whole strain of hole in the earth in Antarctica conspiracies, and one of them happens to be that aliens live inside our earth, that our earth is actually more like a donut, and in the middle there is where the aliens live. And they're saying that this portal that happened in Florida is possibly connected to said aliens that live in Antarctica. I don't really have any thoughts on that one. I'm going to let that play out a little longer and we'll see. But these shadowy alien type beings, they make no sense. The spotting of how this all happened, even if the portal was accidentally opened and they went to the wrong location and it just happened to be a Florida mall, come on now. Put your conspiracy hats on and listen up here. If you were said government, allegedly, and you wanted to frighten the population, well, you sure as hell wouldn't stage another Area 51. You would want it somewhere where there's mass sightings and considerably, large amounts of people, very well populated area. Excuse me. So the mall kind of fits that. People go to the mall, all different ages and stuff like that. And to have this happen there at a mall, and not just inside but outside the mall, And then you got the cops and all that other stuff that was involved, and people are just like, oh no, it was just a bunch of rowdy ass teens running around causing havoc. Okay. But that wouldn't have made the news. Do you know how often like a bunch of rowdy ass fucking teens go running around somewhere near a mall or whatever and causing a havoc, and it's not on the news? But this somehow was on the news, and people have lots of comments on it. And then we have the shadowy figures, like I said. I think it was 100% staged. Nobody got in like close contact with these particular alien type beings. It was like a few feet away or further away that they saw these beings. That could be anything. That could be a freaking hologram. I don't know what the government's working on, but I do remember specifically that Anonymous stated that these fake attacks were going to start happening. So keep your eyes peeled. Take a look at the situation. Because I'm seeing red flags all over the place that this was all staged. Personally. In my opinion. Now, where does this tie in with the whole Mothman and shadow people thing? It doesn't really, besides that they were shadowy type beings. Okay? But it kind of does. So, I was watching Unsolved Mysteries, one of the older episodes, and they were speaking about the Mothman and the sightings of Mothman. And every person that's described Mothman was a humanoid-like type creature with bright red eyes and feathers for skin. Now, if you're in the dark, or I think there's only been a few sightings of Mothman in the daylight, but most of it's in the dark, it appears as a shadowy, bird-like or moth-like entity with bright red eyes. And every picture that I've seen of people like drawing this Mothman, if you take a look at it and you don't really have to let your mind stretch too far, but Mothman might just be an alien. Kind of looks like an alien. He's shadowy. He's got the big eyes. Body proportion wise, kind of looks like the tall, shadowy alien beings. Can't really understand the whole wing thing, but somehow maybe there's aliens with wings. Okay, who's to say that there isn't? So, in my personal opinion, I think Mothman might be an alien. And that's just one of the many different alien type sightings. Just because you don't see a spacecraft or whatever doesn't mean that he's not an alien. That particular type alien might be able to literally fly through space for all I know and live on the moon. I don't know. I'm just saying. Or maybe that's one of the ones that live in the hole in the Antarctica. I don't know. There might obviously be other holes besides in Antarctica, like maybe our cave systems and stuff like that are connected. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could be. Just got to keep an open mind about it. And now with these shadow figures that people see on a regular basis, out of the corner of your eye, see Mr. Shadow Person walking by. My take on shadow people, okay? I think shadow people, I think somewhere in the far future, okay? Our technology became so advanced to where we can obviously travel back in time, but I think there are some limitations when it comes to that. Basically, let's just say that far into the future, it might not even be that far. It could technically be now, maybe a little bit further than now, but let's say that there's a way to travel back in time, okay? Now, depending on the laws of nature and physics and all that fucking scientific bullshit, let's just say that one person cannot exist in two places at once. Hence the shadow figure. And that we can't technically touch or meddle or do anything It's more of a viewing type thing, as in traveling back in time to relive an event or see a place or do something. But that's all you can do is look. You can't manipulate anything. You're just there to observe. And since you cannot exist in two places at once, you appear as a shadow. Because a lot of these stories about shadow people is that they are seen and they peek around corners and they do that kind of stuff. But you get no features from them besides that they are some type of shadowy humanoid-like figure. They don't speak for the most part. Maybe not. EVPs could definitely be some type of voice that came from the shadow people from very far future. Or it just depends, it depends on what the limitations are. But, just for this particular podcast, let's just hypothetically say that in the far future that we can travel back into the past to observe things, and you can't touch anything and you can't really do anything besides observe. Who's to say that you can or cannot, they can or cannot talk? Maybe it's a big faux pas. Like, hey, you're going to travel back in time and you can relive this event, but you can't be seen by yourself. You can't be seen or heard, at least on that humanoid ear level. Maybe. Like, it's a stretch, I know. But if you think about it, even with doppelgangers, there's somebody out there that looks exactly like you, who's like basically your exact twin or whatnot. What if those are just even further advanced and further into the future, where you're able to come back and relive things in a different time period and not as a shadow person? Or maybe that's like a advanced package. You got to pay so much to be able to actually have a body and be seen and heard and stuff like that, versus like the low grade package of, hey, you just get to go observe and basically you're just only seen as a shadow. Don't know, but it is an interesting thought. It is a very interesting concept. Since, we don't really know what these shadow people really are and why they're here and why we see them so often. And I'm not just saying like, oh, hey, I've been up for like a few days straight and like I'm seeing shit out the corner of my eyes. I'm seeing shadow fucking people. No, they've been caught on camera and people have seen them and took photos of them and captured them on video. And shadow people are definitely weird and creepy. And it's strange that, they're always just peeking out and looking at things and then like hiding. And you can't chase one down. You're not going to find it. And they disappear so easily and whatnot. To me, it makes sense that it's a time traveler. Just observing and watching. And yeah, I know, like most of the time these shadow people are seen in abandoned places and places where things have happened. But if you think about it, depending on where that shadow, let's call it a shadow trace at that point. Wherever this shadow trace was, like for instance, there's a few places, I want to say like Waverly, I don't know if they're still standing, but there's a few like abandoned hospitals and stuff like that that are torn down that I'm never going to be able to investigate. But if I was able to travel back in time in this shadow type thing, then I'd be able to visit that place, regardless of, how it looks and stuff like that. I guess it's just it's a personal preference type thing. Or perhaps we see these shadow people or shadow traces and time traveler type thing. Maybe we see them when we're more attuned on their level, as in that it's a relative, or maybe it's us in the future, or whatever it is, but we're attuned on that level with that particular at that particular time. And that's why we're able to see those shadow people. Maybe we see them and other people don't. Like, you could probably bring a group of people into a abandoned place or whatever, and maybe only a small handful of that group will even see or sense or even get a picture or anything of a shadow person, and the other people don't, because they're not attuned to that particular level to be able to interact or see even like a glimpse. It's kind of like, it's not foreseeing, and it's not precognition, it's not postcognition, it's just some type of cognition on that level, basically, to where you can see them. Be a trip, right? Like many, many, many years from now, when this podcast is long forgotten and I am gone, it'll still be there on YouTube somewhere, maybe. And somebody picks it up and listens to it and is like, wow, she could have possibly been right, or she was right on a certain level or something about shadow people being time travelers that are just there to observe. Shadow people could also possibly be aliens that are just there observing. There's just like so many things that it could possibly be. It's the point where, like, not saying it keeps me up at night, but it is thought of, you know, when things happen. It's like, oh, I just saw a shadow person. Well, shit, what are you? Are you an alien? Are you a human from the future? Or are you something that was long dead and past? Are you something that never technically existed on this earth? Are you some type of interdimensional being? And I would love to be able to live long enough to be able to get those answers. Some crazy stuff. Now, back to Mothman. And it seems kind of strange, but from what I've seen, at least online and stuff, that Mothman kind of has a generalized area, and he really does like the wooded area more than anything else. Maybe there is some race or whatever of being that looks like that lives in some strange cave or uses the caves that are somewhere in the woods, or a hole that's out in the middle of the woods somewhere. He comes up here, or she, whatever it is, to observe or to hunt or play around. I don't know. Like, if you were Mothman, like, what do you think your intentions would be? Because every single time I've heard a Mothman story, he's not very nice. You see him, he starts swooping down at your car, or he's hanging outside your house and then starts banging on your windows. Like, he doesn't sound like he's gonna be something that's like, knock, knock, I'm just here to talk about your insurance carrier and see if you would like to go with Mothman Insurance. No. I think he might possibly eat people. Maybe. Or he just doesn't know what they are, and he's like, well, now I have to attack you because I don't know what the hell you are. I don't know. But Mothman doesn't seem friendly. Same thing with Sasquatch. I think Sasquatch aren't something that was just like evolved and lived here forever and it's like just a giant ape man type thing. No, I think that Sasquatch might be another type of race or alien or species or something that just happen to live in caves and other things, and they come out, do what they gotta do. Like, we just coexist with these things, and we don't really know much about them. And it's crazy. And we have the chupacabras, these goat suckers. Seen all along the western states and Mexico and stuff like that. Running around and eating goats and dogs and other things. It's just a species of some type of dog, wolf, whatever it is. Fucking spaghetti dog. And it's just out doing its thing and hunting. Crap like that. We just coexist with it. Now, things like La Llorona or weeping women, specters and ghosts and stuff like that, that's a whole different thing versus things people have caught on actual camera and like footprints and hair and stuff like that. That's a lot more physically tangible versus the other side of non-tangible things like spirits, entities, elementals, interdimensional things. That's a whole different thing. But it kind of collides if you think about it when it comes to the shadow people, because these things could totally be interdimensional spirit type ghost things, but yet they've been caught on camera, right? That's kind of where the crossover between tangible and intangible. There's just so much that we know nothing about. And there is so much that even just our brains can't comprehend because, honestly, we're not intelligent enough of a being to understand this shit yet. And maybe that's why eventually these aliens, when they come down, there's gonna be some fucking great knowledge somewhere that is given to us to help us. Look at the sad state of affairs that humans are in right now. And with us staging crap, trying to, terrify the mass population of humans into thinking that alien creatures from outer space are more here to take over and harm us and kill us versus help us live and thrive as a species. And let's look at the flip side of that real quick. I'm all for that. I'm all for aliens coming on down and helping us and fixing shit or teaching us to fix shit or, giving us this great knowledge that makes us all harmonious as a species. That's great. But that flip side of what if they're not friendly and they're here to eradicate us and take our planet? In all honesty, it's a pretty damn good planet when you look at the other planets that are kind of slightly uninhabitable. Yeah, we don't know what's on a lot of them, but let's take the ones that we can see and have seen, like Mars and stuff like that. Pretty damn desolate and fucking boring. There ain't no trees, no fucking rivers, no waterfalls. It ain't pretty. It's just red. We have no clue what it looks like on Jupiter because the giant electrical storms and gases and stuff that are on that planet. We don't know what the actual surface of that planet looks like, really. And even further out, the colder planets, the icier planets, like Uranus and Neptune and Pluto. Like the further out into space, what if we do have things that live there, beings and stuff like that? What if our solar system, our solar system, maybe even just the Milky Way in general, since there's such a vast expansion of space and different stars and planets and things like that we know nothing about. Let's just talk about ours for a second. What if ours is really just one gumball in a giant gumball machine? It's a starter gumball. What if our planets, our solar system, our galaxies that we are contained in is just a starter galaxy? And these alien species that have come to visit, observe, whatever, maybe they did fuck up their shit and they're looking for a new place to start over. And that's why they're here observing and looking and doing things. That is a definite fucking possibility and a terrifying one, yeah. But at the same time, I'm gonna choose the lighter side and the nicer side of They're just here to help us. Maybe there is not a lot of life out there in space. And maybe there is, and it's just really widely spread out. And then they're just out searching. Just like how if we had the technology to be able to go further out in space and do things like that, that we'd be searching. It's no different. Just because they're a lot more technologically advanced than we are. Maybe that's why they're here, to come down, teach us how to do these things, so then we can start searching out there in space too, to find other species or beings. That's just a thought for today. But all right, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. I don't have a clue what I'm going to do for the next one. We're still doing this on the fly. Like, share, and subscribe if you want more. And you stay creepy, like Kimiko Kusanagi. All right? Bye.